Okay, the third video, I'm going to do the lead pipe on this one. I'm going to take this lead pipe off, take this finger ring off, and I'm going to get one of those third valve slide tubes to put up on the lead pipe. Now we are going to have to cut on this lead pipe. It's too long. Remember, I told you the whole thing is going to have to be shortened to sharpen it up an entire pitch. So when I get to that point, I'll show you what I'm going to do. I may pause this thing a couple of times just so that I'll save some of the video time. And I'm not going to skip anything that's critical. So you're not going to really miss anything. So let's start with disassembling this lead pipe. I'm not going to take the receiver off of this, or at least I'm not going to intend on doing it. But I will be knocking this brace off right here. There's a brace here, and a brace here. And this finger ring. All that stuff's got to come off of the horn so that I can trim it and reassemble it. And we're going to have some cleanup to do to get some of the lacquer off of there. So I'm going to get after it. Steady flame. Now, without saying, this bad boy generates some heat, so don't be stupid and grab a hold of something and burn yourself, which is easy to do. You start heating, and the solder will let loose. You can actually hear it to start popping and crackling a little bit. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about this right here right now, because in the long run, I may not end up using that piece underneath. This brace is actually adjustable. We'll get to that later. Just putting a little bit of upward pressure on it. Not a lot. And for God's sake, don't grab the pliers tight, because that's the last thing you want to do. There we go. Kind of working this, keeping the upward pressure, because if I let it back down, it'll re-stick until that's cooled off all the way. I don't lose control of this when this pops loose. And there we go. See, I told you that brace was adjustable. Little end piece fell off of it. And the other thing that I need, let me see if I can show you that. See how the end of that brace is now gone. It's laying right there. That's a good thing, because this is going to get a little wider when we rearrange things. So it's okay that fell off, because I was going to take it off anyhow. I just don't want to lose it. And you sure don't want to touch that sucker right now. And about 5 minutes or so, this stuff will be cooled down enough that you can work with it. Heck, the finger ring is probably close to that now. I'm going to flip this over. And I'm going to take this off, because I'm going to use it on the slide. And you start to see that popping out of there. You need to loosen this brace up so that it'll turn loose here as well. You want to give it a little wiggle, and once everything breaks loose, That'll pop right off. And you got plenty of support here and here and here. We're going to take this whole thing apart eventually, but I just needed this little part right now. I'm going to clean that mess off of it. Polish it up. I'm done with the torch right now. So I'm going to give this a minute to cool. I'm going to pause it while this stuff cools till I can touch it and it's not hot at all. I'm going to leave it alone 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes maybe, safest. Don't want to burn yourself because you see that one right there. I did that with the soldering iron on a project, soldering some electronics. It's easy to forget that stuff will burn you. Be back in a second. Okay, it's cooled off. One other thing is I was noticing that this one had not come off. I'm going to go ahead and take this one off. It was barely stuck on there. Started doing it off camera and decided I'd wait. Now, I have this type of can so that I can work with it sitting on the table. But notice I have the flame very, very, very low. It doesn't take much of a flame to generate the heat. Now, I let this thing cool so I can handle it, but I still need to take this end piece off. It comes apart right here. So if you keep it pointed up, the heat will move away from you. You can actually hold the other end. You just got to be careful. Go through cooking on this thing a little bit. Turn it around. Let's try it. See if it'll come off. Alright, I'm going to give it a little tug in this direction while I hold it over the flame. Just kind of wiggle it like I did the other tube I took off. Remember, don't grab it too tightly because you don't want to put a flat spot on it. This is being a little stubborn, but it will come off. It'll start to wiggle now. Okay, now you can see how much of that was up inside this other tube by the amount of the solder that's on there. When I put this back together, I have to account for this amount right here. So I have to take it apart and not just whack this thing off the end of it. We're going to be cutting it back in here somewhere. But I needed to know how much of this tube was inside of here so that when I cut it, I can account for that. So I have to take that piece off. Cut the torch off. And this is the tube that I took off from there. We need to clean. See if I can get it to focus on this without too much aggravation. There's a little, let me get my flashlight from down here. There's a little bit of a, yeah, this thing is bright. Go. See that band of solder that's in there? We need to clean that out. And I'm not going to have this point soldered anymore, so I'm gonna need to clean that off. Yeah, look at all the LEDs in this thing. Sky Ray King actually lights up the room in daylight. It's crazy. We're gonna have to clean these pieces up because I don't want this showing if I don't have to have it showing. So let me get my stuff together and I'll show you cleaning this up. Okay, on the end of my drill, I have this little thing here. Oddly enough, this is the cap off of a magic marker. Not exactly that brand, but it was a little cheap thing. And it happened to fit inside these tubes fairly well. Now, I need to work on this one, which is the larger size. So I just take me a little bit index card and just cram it up on there just so it'll grab it. And it's not important that it runs perfectly true, but you do want kind of a decent grip on it. This makes things a lot easier because when you go to take these points off of here where you've got the solder, you want to work on those points, and I take sandpaper, and this is 150 grit. Don't get anything really coarse. And we're just gonna try to sand that out. Let's see, get it sticking a little bit better on this. Let's see what the problem is. I've used this quite a few times, and it is wearing out. Let's double it up on one side. Alright, let's see how that goes. The thing that I don't want to do is put too much pressure on the inside that I can actually warp this thing. And please try not to use sandpaper on the inside of this, because this is a precision fit inside this tube with the tuning slides. They've got the slide up on there, and that's the end that has the solder, so notice it won't fit this end without the solder slides, and it's a very tight fit. So if you get up inside of the good part that you're going to use and you start scarring that up, you're going to run into some problems. So even if it's a little bit aggravating, work with it. Patience, remember, patience. You don't want to get all gorillaed up on this thing and ruin it. It's gone now. That's a good thing. Still working. These are steel wool, small pieces. But one of the things that the steel wool does is it loads up. And when it starts loading up, it'll polish. So if you got this big, huge piece, you're not going to get much polishing action out of it. That sucker's got warm now. So it's a little different color than the rest of the horn. One reason is the horn has started turning. It starts turning overnight whenever you take the lacquer off. But not to fear. Mother's is here. I use this. I just got this saturated rag that I keep inside of there. And I'll start polishing it. The black is a good thing. Alright, so thing out of there. And get this cleaned off now. Where's my other towel? Just grabbing an old towel and wiping it off. And I will, once I get that entire thing put together, again, polish the whole thing down from one end to the other. So this is preliminary. Main thing I wanted to do is not have any witness marks on where the solder was.